Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Brendan and welcome back to the channel, and today I want to explain everything bearish about Ethereum. Now, don't get me wrong, Ethereum's had an amazing year so far. Just a couple of months ago, it bottomed out at around $100, and as of today, it's holding above $600. Now, I don't care what kind of asset class you're looking at, anything that goes up 600% in a year is pretty freaking good, even if it's in the likes of cryptocurrency. But today, I want to break down and explain everything bearish on Ethereum. So if that sounds interesting at all, make sure you guys stick around for the entire length of the video, as there will be important information discussed the entire way through. But that being said, I would like to thank the sponsor of this video, Gods Unchained, but we'll talk about more of them in just a bit. So first things first, Ethereum has been performing parabolically as of lately. I mean, it's no secret, the thing's been on a tear this year, but we are starting to see some warning signs that Ethereum could be getting ready to slow down, or at least have a chance to pull back to its EMAs. And that's really one of the first things that I want to talk about here, is that we are seeing some, what could very well be bearish consolidation on Ethereum, some signs that it is slowing down and volume is beginning to fall off. So, for us being in the middle of the week, it is weird to see volume falling off and not ramping up. And also, we are very far from our 50 EMA and even farther from our 200 EMA on this 4-hour time scale. So if Ethereum is going to pull back to anywhere, we've seen that it's used this area as support in the past. And my theory is that, it could very well use this as support again in the future, but we are just so far away from this right now. I think we're a little bit too overextended to the upside. Again, volume's falling off. We're seeing Ethereum slow down, and we're very, very far from our EMAs, which is a potential warning sign for me. But I want to take a moment to look at some of the indicators and oscillators like the MACD and the RSI to get a little bit of a better understanding of what the bulls could be doing in this area, because again, these are showing signs that the bulls could very well be slowing down right here. So what I want to do is first of all recognize that the MACD over here had a lower swing high in its most recent attempt to the upside, and that our oscillator bands have already started crossing back to the downside over here. Now, is this an absolute sheer fact that Ethereum is going to crash from here? Definitely not, but it's something to take in a factor along with everything else. And I think that this is kind of just an addition game of, if the EMAs are bearish and we're seeing consolidation and volumes falling off, and some of our indicators and oscillators are also pointing bearish, it could be time for Ethereum to pull back a little bit. And that's not a horrible thing. It's definitely very natural, especially in these parabolic run-ups. Now, next thing I want to take a look at over here is the RSI. Now, the RSI on Ethereum is another thing that's showing very, very similar results to the MACD. And so what I mean by that is that we're having the same lower swing high over here upon Ethereum's most recent attempt to the upside. So again, it had a very nice explosion, retraced a little bit, and we saw that on the candle chart. And then after its most recent attempt to the upside, it had a lower swing high on the relative strength index, signifying that Ethereum could be weakening from the bulls, and it could be it could be getting ready to see a dip or a buying opportunity if you're a bull. That's probably what you want to call it, to the downside here. Now, I want to take a moment and talk about the sponsor of this video, Gods Unchained. Thank you so much for sponsoring us, and we'll talk more about them right now. Gods Unchained is a free-to-play tactical card game built on the Ethereum blockchain, which means that it gives players true ownership over their in-game items. Led by the former game director of Magic the Gathering Arena, the game can be played both casually and competitively. Since Gods Unchained is built on the Ethereum blockchain, players completely own their digital items, giving them the freedom to buy and sell their cards for Ethereum at any time. Cards can be earned and purchased in-game, where you can progress and compete against other players in real time. Gods Unchained is a fun way to support applications being built on the Ethereum blockchain, and is available on both Mac and Windows. So I've left a link for them in the description down below, so definitely check them out. Now, back to the video, I want to get back into Ethereum here because, again, while Ethereum is very overextended, I think that the macro of Ethereum's trend here is very bullish. I'm not long-term bearish on Ethereum by making this video, but I do want to talk about, the very real possibility that it could be pulling back. And the whole point of this video is to play a devil's advocate role, because I think that there is always two sides to the coin. No matter which way you look at it, there's always going to be a bearish side and there's always going to be a bullish side. And today I want to shine some light on the bearish side of Ethereum, because I don't think I've made a bearish side of Ethereum in months, if not a year now. So I think it's about time that we at least recognize the bearish opportunities that could be in the way, even if I am macro bullish on Ethereum for the long term. Now, again, I do want to take a little bit more of a look at this candle chart, because we dug into the EMAs and we dug into the indicators and oscillators like the MACD and the RSI, but I need to talk just a little bit more about this candle chart because we can see very, very clearly over here, and I want to go ahead and connect the dots, that it's not a coincidence that Ethereum hit this resistance and rejected. I mean, this is one of the micro lower swing highs that Ethereum has had way back in May of 2018. And so if we're going back over here, we can see that when Ethereum had this most recent, or not most recent, but when it had this fall in 2018, it came over to this area, bounced, came up, rejected the 50 EMA, and then continued falling to the downside. Now, when this happened, obviously this is going to be a form of resistance back on the way up. We saw that this area was used as support a little bit in here as well. Again, not much. We just saw some wick action, but the most significant of these areas is that it was used as resistance back in May of 2018. So it would only make sense that if we're coming back up to retest this area, that was former resistance would be current resistance because we have not broken above this area yet. And in fact, that's exactly what we saw, in that where we rejected over here was almost to the dollar, where we rejected over here on Ethereum at about $620. Now, whether this is going to be the absolute cap for Ethereum and it can't break through this, I still think it's a little bit too early to tell, but if it's going to reject anywhere, I really see it rejecting one of two places. Now, the first one obviously being where we're at right now and probably pulling back to the previous high around $500 and then bouncing. The second one being, if it's going to reject anywhere, I would imagine that it's going to do it at the macro swing high. Now, notice I called this one a macro and this one a micro. This is a macro swing high over here. This is a much more significant level. There's going to be more resistance in this area than what we have over in here. This is definitely less significant. Yes, you do have the 50 EMA rejection, and you have that micro lower swing high, but I think ultimately this is a more significant area that Ethereum would need to break if it really wants to run here. Now, if we zoom out, obviously if Ethereum breaks this level, it's going to have an immediate price target of like almost $1,000, which is a very scary thing for some people and a very amazing thing for others. But with Ethereum being at this level, guys, I really see Ethereum rejecting one of two places, and that's either at this macro lower swing high of $1,000 from 2018, or this micro lower swing high where we had the 50 EMA rejection from $620, which is where we saw this initial rejection over in here. So, I think one of these 2 points we're going to see a retrace on Ethereum, and I just wanted to spread a little bit of light on this. Again, play a little bit of a devil's advocate role, because anybody who knows my thoughts on Ethereum, I made a video a couple of weeks ago talking about how I thought Ethereum was one of the most bullish altcoins to come into the beginning of 2020, the beginning of 2021, end of 2020. But again, it's important to look at all aspects of the coin here. You got to do it, especially if you like trading in any way. So that's going to go ahead and sum up this video. I hope you guys did enjoy it. If you guys did, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next one.